Hold on, let me see if we live on the other end. Got live, but I'm on my computer. One second. Do this. Kofi TV. Hey, check on y'all in too and see if we live. Okay, we live. We live. I see Tim in here. All right, let's do it. Go Griot, go Griot, go Griot.
Yeah, I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages for the street stone. Adios mio, made it get about the Afro-Latino. Who brought their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a griot. In the form of a griot.
Hey, Kofi.
Yes, sir.
I just got an idea in real time.
What's that?
So, I don't want to spill the beans. I'm gonna just allude to something. So, for our little audio situation we talking about in private, could they add the theme song to the audio? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, they
That'd
can.
be interesting to add the little clip on the front of the
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
on
can
the
do that.
on the whoop and the wop.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
we
got
can
the way
do that.
that whoop wop.
it
Yeah.
sounds like that's a great idea.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll chop it up with him. I'll chop it in.
Ballin'.
Yeah, welcome back to the Griots
Welcome up.
Podcast.
Griots Podcast.
Y'all, please like and share the show. Please like and share the show. I think y'all going to enjoy this show today. I am Kofi Piesie. I am a writer, an author, a ghostwriter, a publisher, a co-host of a podcast, amongst other things.
Dr. Wade go next. Take it away, Doc. Take it away, Doc.
We're gonna do that, Sean. What up, good people? My name is Dr. Ashley Wade. I'm so excited for this show today. I am a pharmacist. I'm an author. I'm a community and literacy advocate. Host of Corks and Covers Silent Book Club, and a host of other things. You know, a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there. Sean P.
Yes, bringing up the rear. I'm the man, Sean P. from the Sean P. Experience, sitting with the Griots Podcast, also 1/3 of the Modern Day Griot Podcast, self-published author, public speaker, community curator, the host of Literacy and Libations here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm going to leave it at that. What up, y'all? Thanks for coming out.
All right. Again, y'all like and share the show. I'm finna get on here and share the show as well, man. But let's get into it, man. Let me run down. I always want to run the outline down. Let's see if I got it on here. But yeah, the opening outline for the Griots Podcast. The opening segment, again, we always want to honor a teacher, a scholar, a writer, an author, a revolutionary from the past or present. The Griots, a Griottes segment where we always want to briefly introduce those who may not be familiar with what a Griottes is, or a Griot or Griottes is. Commercial segment where we briefly promote our books or anybody else's products that want to be promoted on this podcast. Discussion segment. Today, the discussion segment will be about social justice movements, right? Woman segment, which is my favorite segment, right? And that's briefly talking and giving flowers to women who have contributed something of value to the political world, writing world, author world, business world, medical world, academia world. So there you have it with the outline. So let's get into the first segment, which is the opening segment.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to take it away to open this segment. I love to honor our ancestors. I love doing this every month because how I come up with the person that I pick is very interesting. So, of course, right now we're living in very political times, political season, a lot of political energies in the air. So I decided to focus on Blanche K. Bruce, right? Kofi, Mississippi's own, right?
Woof, woof, woof.
That's funny. He is a pioneering senator, the first African American to serve a full term in the U.S. Senate, represent Mississippi from 1875 to 1881. This is the 1800s, y'all. So a lot of times in this show, if you notice, the last episode we did, we focused on a lot of movements, right? Society groups that was like late 1800s, early 1900s, right? So this is a very, very golden time in life for us. From slavery to the Senate. He was born a slave in Virginia, y'all. Bruce overcame immense obstacles to achieve political prominence during Reconstruction. We all know that Reconstruction was a big, major theme, right? The first Reconstruction. Successful politician. He held various local offices in Mississippi before his Senate election, demonstrating his political acumen. Advocate for African Americans, championed the rights of former slaves, and worked to improve their economic and social conditions. So we see just like Harriet Tubman, just like Frederick Douglass, these other people, once they emancipated themselves, they still felt the need and the want to go back, help out others, right? Not just be selfish. Community. His legacy, his path-breaking career served as an inspiration for future generations of African American leaders. So that's Blanche K. Bruce out of Mississippi, South Side. Stand up.
Yeah, peace to Blanche K. Bruce, man, Goon Goon Kiki to the ancestor, Goon Goon Kiki
Kofi,
to the
in
ancestor.
school, did y'all learn about him in school? I'm just asking.
No,
In y'all
sir.
school system?
No,
What?
sir. No, sir.
So, you mean for Black History Month? Y'all
No,
didn't say, guess
sir.
what, y'all? We talking about this today.
No, sir.
Wow.
This
Interesting.
is my first time learning
Wait.
about Blanche K. Bruce. Is right
Wow.
now on this podcast right here. I'm learning about. That's why I like this
Shame
podcast.
on you, school system. Shame on you.
Yeah, man, they showed it, man. So I'm gonna do some further research on the man because he right here
Mm-hmm.
in our backyard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But yeah, they ain't gonna, they anything that this here would definitely empower us right here. So
Yes, man.
anything to empower us, they're not gonna teach that in the school system. But
Can I
again,
say a little 10 seconds something, please?
yes,
I,
sir.
want to show the importance of this, right? Because I'm gonna be selfish on myself. A lot of times growing up, when it comes to politics and my physical self, it felt like this huge ocean between us. Like a lot of these folks, especially in my childhood in the '80s, like a lot of these folks that's running, they're probably not black and brown people. First of all, second of all, it's like, man, it's this huge difference. So to get me interested in politics, come on, Sean, you gotta go out there and vote and press the button. You gotta be involved in local politics. If I was knowing about guys like this and hearing and seeing guys like this, I might have been a little bit more interested at an early age. That you know what I'm saying? That's the importance of it.
And I think it's dope too to be able in this position in our lives, like in our respective careers, just to piggyback on the fact that we haven't learned or haven't heard of him, is that like it is important for us to teach each other. Like I like how in the chat we're acknowledging that we're all learning something. Like that's a good posture to be in because our history is so vast. You know what I'm saying? Even local Mississippi, and there's still more to learn. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for tuning in with us and allowing us to learn together as we kind of teach each other. You know what I'm saying? This is a very good space, enriching space to learn.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. So the next segment is the Griot segment, real quick. And some of y'all on here probably already know what a Griot and the Griottes is, but someone who may look at this video in the archive or listen to it on Spotify, may not know what a Griot is, right? So a Griot are a unique and a unique to Western Africa, a Griot or Jali professional encompass many roles. Griots pronounced Griot have been referred to as historians, and not only that, just griots as well, historians, storytellers, but there are no real words in the English language that includes all of their functions. A traditional griot do everything from recounting history to composing music to teaching students to acting as diplomats. They are genealogists, historians, spokespersons, ambassadors, musicians, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremony, advisors, negotiators, mediators. Not every griot or griotte does all of those things, but these are all examples of the functions the griots and the griottes professions embody. So there are, like I said, there are many, many, many roles that the griot holds, right? And some of them facilitate three or four of these duties and roles, and some of them want to facilitate only one role. But the main purpose is to preserve their history, to preserve their legacy, right, and to teach the community as well as the youth. So there you have it about the griots and the griottes and the griot and griottes section,
Hold on,
segment.
hold on, Kofi. Before we go to the next slide, right?
Mhm.
For all our long time listeners, we done probably did what 16, 17 episodes total of the Modern Day Griot Podcast. You know, last season combined
17.
17. So
Mhm.
a person might think like, come on, man, it's like every episode we doing the Modern Day Griot slide. But guess what? At my live event last week, we had sisters sitting there reading the Modern Day Griot in real time in the room. The sister thought that we were making up words, Kofi. She admitted she went to go and Google in her phone to see that we was making up Griot and Griotte. She said that. So that's why
Wow.
that segment is important, because we can't assume that the whole world just already know what a Griot is.
True.
That's why it's important every episode. That one particular slide is
Mhm.
always foundational, because the masses don't know what that is.
Yes,
Just because we know don't mean that they know.
Very
yes.
true.
And most people that heard of it, right? They always say the griot or griottes are storytellers, and that's it. But the griot or griottes, right, is more than just a storyteller. So we want to run down every role and function that a griot and griottes operate up under, right? Because a lot of people just only know one role, but they have more than one role. They have multiple roles that they facilitate, right? So, it's very important, that we continue to, reiterate what a griot and a griottes is each segment. So if you're tired of it, I'm sorry. We're going to keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
You
sir.
don't get this word till it hurt, like they say. You don't get this
Yeah.
word till it hurt.
They
You
ain't
don't get
got
this
no-
word. You don't get this word.
Sir.
And if you want to know more, go to the link in the bio. Same three different branches. You can get a full out book on what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which got nominated, which we got to start. We really got to start doing that, man, and start, making sure when we post and we're talking about that, even
You gotta
when we
own it.
running down our things, we all been nominated, right? We're nominees, man, for the best Black history, right? And we was nominated with some of the people that y'all would say big dogs,
bro.
right? So we gotta,
Come on,
so we gotta stop. We gotta
Yeah,
so we
nominated
gotta
big.
own it, right? So
What Kanye West said? Grammy nominated, hotel accommodated. We're nominated.
yes, sir. But we don't say it as much. We really don't, say it as much. And I think we need to start
Hey,
acknowledging
Kobe, you the logo, man. Make us a little logo. Nominated for
Facts.
this award. We can
Yes,
start
sir.
putting that thing on everything. Put that little stamp on
Yep.
everything.
Yep. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it tonight.
That's your
Yeah.
homework.
Yeah, it's my whole.
That was
So,
one of our biggest piece lessons that went out. You know what I'm saying? The Griot and Griotte, just reminding the public, like, hey, we know who we are. And not only that, activating more of us who operate in that space. That's one of my favorite selling points too of the book, is because it's an activational piece, and I think that's why we was up there nominated.
yes, sir.
Like, what y'all putting us on? Yes, like
Yes,
this is
sir.
this is the move. This is the movement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So let's go to the commercial segment. We're not gonna run down everything we did today, but we gonna definitely talk. Just really, tell you to go out and get, if you ain't already got, acting on your dreams and your vision. Right? Go get this piece of work. I'm telling you, this is a nice piece of work we have been getting, and I'm proud of this. I'm really, really, really proud of this book, because
Yeah.
we have really, really, really been getting a lot of great feedback about this book, and we really have some other things that is coming down the pipeline. We got 2 other different things that we will be announcing about this book, man. As Sapado. As Sapado. So be on the lookout for those announcements that's connected, that's surrounded around this book, man. So
Hey,
we're gonna push this book, man, as far as we can push this
boy.
book with the things that we got, right? And appreciate those who
Yes.
have bought a copy, right? And I
Thank
appreciate
you.
those people who are interested in buying the copy. I had a few people reached out that said it's going to get a few copies. We sold out the ones we have, but I have some more
Who's for that?
coming
Who's for that?
to tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow. So they'll be here tomorrow. As well as something else will be here tomorrow when we get ready to make that big announcement. So when y'all want to
Ooh,
get
that thing
those
whipping.
things,
That's about a grand buck.
yeah,
About a grand buck to the back. That thing
yeah.
whipping.
Yeah, y'all can get them, man. But again, man, peace. And if y'all don't have it,
Water
go
whip.
to www.sametreedifferentbrandspublishing.com. Real quick before we go into that, while we're talking about this, all right. And I'm gonna make a small video talking about this, but I don't want to make this video about that. When we say go to www.sametreedifferentbrandspublishing.com, so you hear us say that all the time. We don't say go to Amazon. We don't say go to Barnes and Nobles. We don't say go to Target. We don't say go to any other print on demand company. We want you to patronize us directly, whether you go to the website or you reach out to the other authors themselves, Sean or Dr. Ashley Wade. And there's a reason behind that is because we work hard when we put these projects together. So we deserve it. We deserve all of our money for our intellectual property. And so when you go and buy from a print on demand company, you is taking money out of our mouths. And sometimes that money is for y'all want us to continue to bring things.
Think about it.
What we do it for, so we can continue to fund the other projects or expand the projects that we got by the money that y'all that y'all paying for these books, which is an equal exchange. It's always going to be an equal exchange. We're getting something and you're getting something in exchange. So it's always an equal exchange, right? So please patronize the author directly. If we say
the business of it, right? We just mentioned 2 minutes ago we have other things in the making that's coming.
Facts.
We were blessed, is the phrase I want to emphasize. We were blessed to be able to tell each other, like, look, the funds that we have from this could fuel this.
Yes.
So
yes.
actually, it's going full circle back around that the people that invested in us, you're getting a very, very good thing coming back to you.
Yes.
Going back around.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's
So
business.
yes, and I'm gonna make a full video about that and if the brother is looking at this and look at this label, later, shout out to that brother. But we the brother want to interview us, but he went somewhere else and got the book and reached out to me, and I told him, man, look, you should have went to the website. We've been promoting it off the website, man. So get it directly. So I had to explain to him. So he said, man, he know the next time, whatever it is, because the brother want to interview us, man. And shout out to that brother. So
and it's all good as long as you click on it, you bought it first of all.
Yeah. And that most definitely what I told him. We appreciate it. We definitely.
We love signing books. I love signing books.
Yeah, I do too. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So man, let's get into, man, what this episode is always about. Before we do that, though, Dr. Ashley Wade, you mentioned you wanted to do something for the sister, one of our fallen sisters.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yo, so today is the National Day of Mourning for our good sister Sonia Massey, who was recently murdered by a police officer in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. And as we've seen before in other movements by our hashtag people that have been murdered, it's becoming a trend. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be in this place of reverence to our good sister, and we also need to be in a place of like strategy and listening to the griots and tapping into this type of conversation today that we're going to have to kind of position our mindset in looking at the reality of what we're really dealing with in this police state of a country. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to take a moment, a couple of seconds, so we can have a moment of silence, because again, all over the country, today is the day of national mourning. I know in Dallas, Texas, all the good organizers and community folks are at Dallas Police Department today in full movement. And I'm sure things are going on all across the country
New York.
today.
Yeah, they in New York.
They in New York. I haven't even had a chance to tune in and see. But even just here Friday night, they had a beautiful vigil for the sister, and also honoring the other Black women who were murdered by police. And so one of the good organizers down here, she said, "Y'all not mad enough for me." And that really stuck with me, because again, this is a Black woman that was murdered in her house. We all are finding out the details, but like, we deserve the same outrage. You know what I'm saying? That people are giving to the Palestinian and people that are given to all these other movements. Me and Sean P run this back all the time. But like, when it happens at home, who's gonna stand with us? We are prompted to stand in solidarity with all these other things, which is what our ancestors told us that we should do. So we get it. But at the same time, like, when things happen at home, especially to Black women, like, who all standing up, who all rallying for the Black women? Because at the end of the day, Malcolm said it, we are the least protected. And we're changing that narrative at home, but at the same time, we just want to make sure that we take a moment today to stand in solidarity with all our movement workers that are out there in the street, all of our organizers, our protesters, everything that's happening today. We wanted you to know that we're standing with you, and we're also here to honor Sonya Massey's name and her life, her legacy. She leaves behind a family and a host of people who are going to miss her, who love her, and we want to stand with those people. So if we'll just take a short moment of silence to honor her legacy and her name for just a moment. Okay, thank you so much for giving us that opportunity to just hold space for each other, especially our sister and her family, Sonya Massey.
Yeah, and what's so crazy, and we'll move on, is I actually did a video. I did a bunch of recording last night. I recorded a lot of content last night, and my last piece of content I recorded was a video about Sonya Massey, but also a video about this other incident that just happened with this young lady with the police actually opened the young lady door up and actually pulling her out of the car, slamming her to 3 white policemen, slamming this Black young lady to the floor, arrest her for no reason. Says she was making driving reckless, didn't have insurance, didn't have license, and the lady had insurance. She had license. Young girl. She looked like she probably was in her early 20s or whatever. Okay. So I made a video, but I didn't post it. It was actually to show me, give some details, but also promote this show, because we're talking about social movements, and I wanted to ponder the question about Black men in general. What are we doing? When are we going to create a social movement to protect our Black women? Not only our Black women, but our Black children. But it has become the norm now, where we seen Black men being attacked and killed and choked to death and beat in the head with billy clubs, shot in the back, shot in the head. Now it has trickled down to the women, right? So I didn't post the video because then it was in regards to promote this too, but I was so upset. I did a lot of cussing in that video. So I choose not to upload the video to show the video, share my thoughts, and promote this episode today, man. But again, man, we got to do better with protecting our women, man.
Look at our last show we just had. We talked about secret societies, right? And I was talking about, for an example, the Deacons of Defense, the Black Panther Party for Defense.
Yeah.
I'm reading about the Black Liberation Army late last night, right? Like, these things were started because of all the police violence. These things were started because of all this. I want to say they're terrorizing us.
They are. So
our community felt like, you know what? We got to make something to defend and protect ourselves.
Yeah.
That's where these things spur from, moments like this. And here we are.
And I don't blame us. This is not a place to blame thing, because even at the vigil here for Sonya Massey, there were a lot of Black men that showed up, and I was very proud. There were a lot of white men that showed up too. And I love that, the griots, our local griots, really sheltered in a lot of like newness. You know what I'm saying? The women held this vigil. And when I tell you, can't nobody, if you want something, if you want to feel the soul of a movement, if you really want to find the love in a movement, get Black women to do it. They gonna pray for you. They gonna lay hands on you. They gonna sing to you. One young sister, I gotta share this with y'all before we move on. One young sister was part of the program, and she gave a poem. She did some spoken word, and based off what she was saying, it literally felt like this was Sonya Massey in the flesh. She was talking about her struggles with mental health, her struggles with the police. It literally gave Sonya Massey came in this lady's spirit to give us this amazing, moving poem, right? So then as that's taking place, she's done with her poem. The Griottes, she said, let's bring it in. Let's all hug on her. So she said, y'all, this is Sonya Massey in the flesh. Everybody came in, hugged. The amount of love that this young lady got is astronomical. But it's like, what if we could have loved on Sonya Massey? What if we could have, sent somebody to check on her, and we're yet uncovering her, her family's experience with it. But, in Dallas, I love the way that, the women really held it down and gave an amazing vigil, but then also loved on the community. We wasn't burning stuff down. We wasn't rageful in that way. It was more of a loving outpouring. And even and I got to share with y'all this lady, but she was like, yeah, y'all white men, y'all come hug her. So she was like stretching people in this moment where we do need to come together, but people still don't know how to accept or interact with Black women most days, as workers. Yeah. But as somebody to honor and protect, they don't really know how to do that. So I appreciate all the Dallas movement leaders who are there today at Dallas Police Department. I'm sure, defending and standing up for Sonya Massey's name. And then the ladies who really brought us a beautiful vigil to honor her life and the other Black women that we've lost to police violence.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to everybody, man, out there that's, trying to affect positive change, man. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into the discussion. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of different social movements, right? So
can Dr. Wade give us the reason why she chose this particular? She is this is her brain baby. Yes. Can you give us the why to this conversation, Dr. Wade?
You can start it off as well, Dr. Wade.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. So y'all, today, the title of today's episode is All Rise, right? And I think it's so important as we get, all this political stuff is going on in our background. We don't know what we've done. Right now, there are a lot of people that are operating in anxiety. They're frantic. When it was Trump versus Biden, everybody's like, oh, we got to vote for Biden. And then even when the topic of Cornel West came up, well, we can't, everybody's living in this mentality of what we can't do. Well, we can't do that. If we have this person, we can't win here. We are not, and it's not anybody's fault, because again, based on this traditional school system, we learn what we learn and we don't learn what we don't learn. So the purpose of this episode today is to highlight what we have done, the social justice movements that got people together, that created change. And, even if it's not a particular movement, we need to see what we've done so we can create the narrative of what we can do so that we can encourage and ignite people to be involved in the movement. Because what we're going to showcase today is there weren't 5 or 10 or 100 people who were involved in these movements. We're talking about 30,000 people, 50,000 people. But nowadays we got 50,000 people sitting on that couch, not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Going to work and going home, not being involved, not contributing their gifts, not contributing, things, personal things that could really create change. And we're going to highlight some amazing people, some amazing movements. But in the back of your mind, take yourself back to where we're going to describe to you today. Put yourself in these people's shoes. And hopefully that will correspond to you being active today in your communities. We need that same energy, that same activity that our 4 leaders had in the 50s and 30s. We need that now. So that's the purpose of today. All rise, y'all. What's popping? Okay, what y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna stand up? Are we gonna be defeated? So that's what the purpose of today is. And so I am gonna kick it off and talk about the Montgomery bus boycott. People think they know. It's so funny. I was out at a community event and met a young girl, and she was talking about the boycott. She was talking about Rosa Parks. Yeah, she didn't give up her seat. And listen, there was so many more details behind the scene of what made the boycott successful, what all we did. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about it. And with this being a literary podcast, I had to drop this book right here in the chat, The Rebellious Life of Rosa Parks. If you have not,
it's a must-have. Must-have. Every collection, every home library, must-have.
Again, we need to know the details because, again, this is why they keep history from us, so we won't know what we've done. So I want to tell y'all a little bit about it as far as sharing the details. So this was the first time that we actually put our money where our mouth is when it comes to a movement, okay? This was in 1955, okay? Keep that in mind because those people did not have the same wealth that we have today, okay? And they were able to have this boycott for 381 days.
Bruh, I love that story every time I hear that number. 300 and what?
381 days, our people boycotted the bus system in Montgomery, Alabama.
So for more than a year, they walked to work. More than a year, they walked to work in the weather, cold, rain down, got to get groceries, back and forth to the crib. Whatever your day-to-day is, they walk and they carpool for all of that. And we can't stop watching football for one season. We can't stop watching
for one season.
We can't not go to Black Friday
for 1 year.
That's
and
crazy.
Again, we have to keep in mind, again, people were inspired and people were already organizing. People look at the boycott, because it was originally supposed to be 1 day, but it ended up being 381 days because they found it successful. They found themselves resourceful. So the bus boycott was planned by the Women's Political Council. If y'all check out the last episode, we talked about these secret societies, and I introduced you to the Women's Political Council, which was created in 46. So the bus boycott wasn't until 55. So all those years we were organizing, all those years we were planning for when that moment came where Rosa was like, this is not what we're doing. We were ready to mobilize. People were organized already. Because again, that takes away the narrative that she just randomly got on the bus one day and this randomly became a movement. No, like they were planning on a bus boycott because we were getting mistreated on the buses. It wasn't just Rosa. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it was initiated by Rosa Parks to give her fair due, but it was maintained by the Montgomery Improvement Association. So there I just listed 2 organizations who were planning and building in community with each other. Okay. Joanne Robinson, she was the president of the Women's Political Council. And what she did was she printed and passed out 35,000 leaflets. We can't even get people to reshare the post 2 or 3 times. So again, the point of this is to demonstrate what we have done. Printed, this is for 1 day. They coordinated carpools. They raised money to keep this enterprise going because again, they didn't just say, oh, we're gonna boycott the buses and we're just gonna leave our people out to suffer. There was a carpooling organization. People knew where they was gonna pick up, drop off. People had gas money due to these organizations who were fundraising. And over 50,000 Black people participated.
50,000. 50,000.
So yeah, we went for their pocket. So again, I want to remind us what we can do. We're in this position like, well, we don't know if we can get this person in. Well, we don't know. What can we do? 50,000 people participated in the bus boycott, which ultimately resulted in a Supreme Court ruling that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. So that's in a nutshell. But at the end of the day, due to this boycott, which means we did not put money into this system, they had to listen to us. They had to bring us to the drawing board. And we got our needs met. Hello, somebody. Did y'all want anybody to comment on that one?
Yeah,
and
I
that's
did because go ahead, Kofi.
you go well. What all I was gonna say is, and that's what I admire. I admired. I have my issues with things that happened in the '60s and the '70s when we talk about the civil rights movement, even between both the integrationists and the separatists. Both
True.
had some things that that I can disagree with, but one thing I can say with the separatists and the integrationists, because during that time, the civil rights movement, you had two movements. You had people who didn't want to integrate, and you had people who wanted to integrate. But those two different groups of people, those two different organizations at that time, they was fearless. And that's what I admired about them. They was fearless. And they always rallied together, right? They always organized together, right?
Yeah.
And so and somewhere down the line in 2024 and before, we have lost that fearlessness. We have lost our organizing, as like you saying, they organized for over a year. Like when these things happen in our community, man, we may organize a week, you know what I'm saying, 2 weeks, and then after that we dissipate and go back to our lives, and it's nothing else, you know what I'm saying. We don't stick to it, right? So that's one thing, like I said, I just admire about the ancestors in the past, man. They was definitely fearless.
Right. And the preachers were different back then. They were
Mm.
leaders because the MIA, the Montgomery Improvement Association, was formed by Black ministers and community leaders.
Mhm.
So the ministers back then wasn't focused on having a super mega church. The ministers back then was like, okay, we have these issues. We need to organize something. We need to get ourselves together and come up with plans. We need to get each other together and figure out what we need, figure out what our people need and how we can meet that needs. That's what our ministers were doing then. You know what I'm saying? And we need to put that in perspective, because now I don't know if the ministers know what to do as far as social justice is related. As when I say what to do, I mean by planning. We plan for programs, we plan for the Easter days, the this, all that, but do we even plan to organize? Do we have social justice groups within the churches that you see? And if so, what are they doing? What are they doing? Do we have mutual aid? Are y'all giving to the homeless? Are y'all partnering with other organizations, nonprofits, or just community leaders who are willing to do the work? They just need to support the volunteers. Like, how are we supporting our people who are building?
Yeah, one thing about that is it ain't gonna happen, and the reason why it's not gonna happen is they don't want to get the benefits. Like like what you saying about all of those things, the churches are supposed to be doing that. When they created the 501c3 and gave the churches the benefit where they don't have to, the minister don't have to pay taxes on being paid. They don't have to pay taxes on things that they purchase. They don't have to pay land taxes and so forth, right? And it's so many other benefits that the churches get. So in order for us to continue to reap these benefits, we got to be quiet. We can't get out there and be radical. We can't get out there and be in the forefront even when we know things are wrong, because we don't want to get these things yanked away from us, because they gave us to us, and it's easily they can take it away from us. And the preachers and the churches of the today is not the same as the churches back in the early 19th century or in the early 20th century.
Do they not know? So we're allowing people to be preachers of churches based on their calling, but we should also vet our preachers to see how much they know about their involvement in these movements. Sean, you want to tap in on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, first of all, my homeboy Jody said it best. He said because these days they're focused on building up buildings and not people.
Facts.
Like you said, they want the church to be bigger and bigger. They want it to be better and better. They want all this technology in the church, and the big screen come down and all that smoke. The big old production now, right? It's a theatrical performance. But like building up the people the way it's supposed to be at. But anyway, what I was gonna say at the beginning was, Kofi mentioned the last interview we did, the last show we did. He said, man, I wish they'd take everything away again, right? About our comforts. We're so comfortable right now. When you said that they boycotted for 300 plus days, that's a lot of uncomfortableness. And in
Facts.
today's generation, any little minor inconvenience, it's like we can't do it. Come on, y'all, for a few months, we're not gonna do this one thing. We have no community discipline,
That's good.
community self-control, right? And that's why these people know, like I said last night, Dr. Wade, these people know, all right, based on history, y'all gonna cut up for a little while, y'all gonna march protest for a little while, break a little window here and there. It's gonna blow over. Y'all going back to what y'all was doing.
Go dissipate and go back into the thing.
Yeah.
If the church members, if the pastors don't get out there to dissipate it, because now you got them bringing them out there to dissipate them to go on back onto their homes and stuff. Like I said, it's not. Yeah, it's just not. But everything is everything.
That was going on too, because even in Dallas, they can't. Our historians can't even agree on the fact that Martin Luther King came here or not, because there were some Black ministers who met him, who were instructed to meet him and shuttle him back on out of Dallas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it all skinfolk ain't kinfolk.
Yes,
especially in the church world.
Yeah,
so you need to shed light on stuff like this. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for letting us teach you and remind you of all the things that we've done and all the people involved. 50,000 people. That's 4 or 5 churches. Now the churches are in competition with each other. Which one can be the biggest? Which one? These were 50,000 is a lot of people's churches working together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes,
if
indeed. Yeah. But everything we're familiar with Claudette. Yeah, we're very familiar with her. So
like I said, the book that Dr. Wade showed, Claudette Colvin is all up in that book.
Yeah, yep.
And her and Ms. Rosa Parks wrote together. Rosa Parks was mentoring her for a minute, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and we know that is not news to us. Claudette Colvin is not news, but I didn't mention her, so I understand why you'd be concerned for sure. But we know
we got it all covered. We got it all covered.
Shout out to everything. It's everything. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
So you want to go or you want me to go, Sean? It really doesn't matter, man.
Okay, I'll pull up one.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this organization called Mapping Police Violence. But once again, the times we live in, we just talked about a lot of situations. So this group is called Mapping Police Violence. So this is a data-driven. There are 4 data-driven advocacy, right? These groups collect and analyze detailed data on police encounters, focusing on incidents involving excessive force, wrongful death, and racial disparities. They are about transparency and accountability. By mapping and publicizing patterns of police misconduct, these groups aim to expose systemic issues and hold law enforcement agencies accountable, right? They are about community empowerment. Many groups collaborate closely with affected communities, providing resources, support, and opportunity for residents to participate in the mapping process. They are about policy reform. The data collected is used to advocate for legislative changes, such as stricter use of force policies, increased officer accountability, and investments in community-based alternatives to policing. The last thing I put on this is public awareness. Mapping initiatives often serve to educate the public about the extent of police violence and its impact on marginalized communities, fostering broader support for reform efforts. And I'm gonna drop in on this. I did an interview with an author a few weeks ago. You can find it on YouTube. The book is called Defund. Defund. It's all about defunding the police. It's all about police abolition. So I would definitely advise you go out there and find that book, Defund. And this group is called Mapping Police Violence. If you put it up on Google, it shows you the actual maps that they're showing certain cities, certain areas, certain places. You can see the actual. Yeah. You never pull it up and Google it and see all these different maps showing you the police violence and the patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. But shout out to these people, and I'll go in next because I mean we're talking about police brutality, right? So you know me. I'm you know, um I'm looking at things globally as well. So things are going on just because we think that it's happening in the United States, it's happening everywhere. It's happening in the motherland. You know, everybody know I'm a Pan Africanist. You know, so I'm gonna talk about the things, the same things that are happening here is happening over there, and the social justice movements that are taking place over there. And it's the same thing that is happening when we look at, like when we look at all of these social justice movements and these movements that took place during the civil rights movement, right? With the integrationists and the separatists, these two different organizations, um, right? It was spearheaded by a lot of the youth. A lot of the youth was
Right.
on the front line, and when we look in Mother Africa, it's the same thing. A lot of these organizations or these movements that were spearheaded, man, you see the youth at the forefront, right? Um, and the
So
Philip,
Kofi,
uh-huh.
so this is a worldwide problem.
This is a worldwide
I'm
problem.
saying it because right now what's going on? They said, man, all this stuff going on with the politics right now. I'm gonna get up and move. I'm leaving the U.S. Man, we packing up and we going somewhere else.
Mhm.
If you watch world news, you watch the world, newspapers. These things not just happening here in the U.S. This is a global systemic problem. So back to the defund book, he's talking about stuff going on in the UK in the book.
Yes. Yes. It's
You think it's just sweet somewhere else?
Yes, it is happening.
You think it's a matter of a plane ticket and a passport and you good? Like this is
Yep.
a global
Yep.
problem. Is my
Right.
point.
Especially in relation to Black people. That's what people don't
Yes.
understand. And they
Yes.
don't get the connection right away anyway, because a lot of, even with Palestinian and Israel, people, it took them a long time to figure out the Palestinians was Black people. You know what I'm saying? People don't put themselves in the shoes of that international piece. So thank you so much, Kofi, for calling that out.
Yes. So I'll be talking about, and I'll be talking about Insarge movement. This is in Nigeria. This is my ancestry goes back to Nigeria. I'm a part of the Igbo people in Nigeria. And I was talking a few years ago to one of my partners. I hadn't talked to him in a while. I actually done lost the number, and I don't even, he's not even active on Facebook anymore, because that's where we did most of, we talked on WhatsApp, but we did most of our interaction on Facebook Messenger. And he was telling me about this movement that was taking place. This was in 2018 when I learned about this, but then it took it got more in the headlines in 2022. So it's called the Insarge movement, right? In 1992, there was a movement that was called, and the SARS, you will see that. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me show y'all this.
Uh-oh. Shout out to my good brother in the chat, Fonts Mr. Inspired.
Peace. So hold on. All right. So here's go one. This thing I'm gonna click right off of we're young, not criminals. And I'm explaining that to that statement in just a minute. This is in Nigeria. This is another image. The police is robbing us in SARS now. And SARS, again, it means Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And this squad was founded in 1992, right? And it was this thing was put together for robberies. It was put together for car thefts, um, right? And other different things. This special unit was put in place for. But over the years, these people started racial profiling uh black Nigerians, right? They started profiling them. For one, but let's read the overview. The End SARS movement began in 2017 as the youth-led protest against police brutality in Nigeria, specifically targeting a special anti-robbery squad, a unit known as the Abuse and Extrajudicial Killings. Grassroots mobilization. The movement gained traction through social media, particular Twitter, where the hashtag #IndSARS went viral. And this is where it started in 17. I didn't learn about this until 2018 to one of my partners, Sambu, was actually, who's from Nigeria, was actually talking about it, and it was getting covered on Twitter a lot. The tweets was going and the videos were going viral of some of the things that was happening in Nigeria with police brutality. Youth involvement. Young Nigerians played a pivotal role, organized protesting, raising awareness, and demanding a systematic reform. Global solidarity. The movement received international attention and support from the Nigeria diaspora and the global human rights organization. Government response. This is the impact. In response to the widespread protests, the Nigerian government announced the disband of SARS in October of 2020. However, protests continue and demands comprehension, police reforms, and accountability. Awareness and advocacy. The movement significantly raised awareness about police brutality and human rights abuse in Nigeria, leading to an ongoing advocacy for justice and reform. So you had police brutality. Like I said, police brutality is happening all over the world. And this group, this special unit was profiling these Nigerians that wore clothes. And again, we influence the world. So when you look at a lot of our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, they're talking like us, they're walking like us, they're dressing like us, they're emulating us. So they was being profiled by certain clothes that they was wearing, and so many different things. They were just being racial profile, right? And a lot of these kids that was being racial profile didn't end up quite well. A lot of these kids ended up getting killed once they encountered this special unit, right? A lot of these kids, a lot of people lost their lives by this special anti-robbery squad. These individuals also, this police special task, 2018, I got familiar with this, but in 2018, they rallied so much that the government wanted to stop them. Said that they put an end to the special unit the special anti-robbery squad. The only thing they did was move them to another precinct in Nigeria. That was the only thing they did. They had the people under the illusion that they dismantled the special anti-robbery squad that was a part of the police force that was racial profiling. And not only racial profiling, they was robbing these young adults who had foreign cars or exotic cars. They would say they had exotic cars. And you had people like Davido, who is a hip-hop artist, a popular Nigerian hip-hop artist. Google him. He's all over. He's always over here in America, flashy with his jewelry or whatever the case. He got involved in the movement, I think, in 2020. So 2020 is when they actually disbanded. But even with them still doing these things, the people who got popular in this movement, man, the government, man, was saying that they was just like over here, you antagonizing, you know what I'm saying? You're disrupting these different areas. So they even tried to ban these protests of these people who assimilated and started the IndSARS movement in Nigeria. And some of the people who even got popular at the time, they seized the government. This is crazy. The government seized their bank accounts. They seized their bank accounts because they was involved in this IndSARS movement that took place for the last 4 or 5 years. It started in 2017, 2018. They lied to the people and said that they disband this part of the police task force. They didn't ban them. And then it got even ridiculous around 2020 because a lot of these kids started coming up dead when they was encountered by these policemen that who was being racial profile for whatever reason they was being racial profile for. So 20 October, the middle of October, I think the 20th October of 2020, they eventually dispersed this SARS, or this special anti-robbery squad that was a part of the police force, and got a new task force that was involved in the thing. But y'all see, police brutality is everywhere. So they was going through the same things in Nigeria as we go through over here in America.
Thought of that. Kofi, thank you so much for that. Because I think, ultimately it's hard for people to see side by side, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in the movement here locally and abroad. And it's like, okay, if that we see that students are doing things, there was a lot of student protests here in the US, but like you said earlier, the students are fearless. The students, they're gonna be on the front lines. The young people, they understand, like Sean always says, they have less to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So their inspiration come from a whole different place, and their comfortability too comes from a whole different place. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting us know about that. And SARS.
Yep, and SARS. And SARS. And that's what I'm saying. You see how this movement, they just didn't assemble for 2 or 3 weeks and it dissipated and they went on, they stopped protesting. This went on for years until they was able to, the government was able to meet their needs by, dismantling this part of the police task force that was misusing their authority when they're encountering these Nigerians.
And you know what, too? If we don't stand up for ourselves, they just gonna run over us. You know what I'm saying? Why would they even create that SARS department? You know what I'm saying? Why would they even create that? It seems like it was an underhanded type of cult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I guess it's not really any different than like the police fraternities, maybe.
Yeah.
Yo,
what you get from?
Wait. You just said police fraternities, right? Is this thing, I'm during the course of the show, I'm gonna pull it up and put it into the chat. Is this sister in Los Angeles? She has this whole podcast about the police gangs over there in Los Angeles area. And she's done all this research. Now, due to her research, of course, she's been targeted by the police. She's been targeted by the government, all of these things, man. But this sister has this whole detail. She's an actual journalist. She's done all this journalistic work researching the police gangs in Los Angeles. It's a trip. It will blow your mind, bro.
I bet.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna put it into the chat later on in the show, and whenever I find it, man. But you said that, it sparked my mind. Like, wait a minute, it really is gang activity.
Yeah, it is. That's definitely what it is. Gang activity, man. And shout out again, everybody in the chat, man. Y'all please like and share the show. Please like and share the show. We got 11 likes, but we done had 14, 15 people in the building. Get the likes up. Share the show, please. Share the show. So I guess it's on you. It's back on you.
I'm with it. I'm so excited. And I hope that everybody listening can tap into what we're explaining to you and feel in some way inspired. Again, the goal of this is to all rise. Like, how can we be involved with what's going on locally and globally? And especially, I like to highlight certain things because, again, with the boycott, we at least saw a glimpse of what we can do when we put our collective financial power together and pull out. But my next example is going to show you how when we put in, like when we put our money in, when we put our service in, and when we put our intellect in, what we get, what type of movement we can get. So I'm going to highlight the sister right here, Elaine Brown. Let me refer to this book right here. And I'm going to refer to her probably several times throughout this podcast because she's still working. So as long as she's still working, we're going to continue to highlight what she's doing and what she has done, because a lot of people don't know what she has accomplished in order to see like how powerful we are as women, how powerful we can do politically, where we don't have to compromise our radicalism, so to speak. And Elaine Brown is a good example of a Black woman being in a position of influence and power without compromising her radical essence. And still to this day, she's working. So that's what I'm about to highlight to y'all. Get this book right here. It's called A Taste of Power. This is going to be our book reference, another book reference today, A Black Woman's Story. So this is her story. Lots of people don't know that Elaine Brown was the first chairwoman of the Black Panther Party, but most people also don't know that she was a Green Party presidential nominee in 2008. So let's look at Cornel West right now. People are like, oh, well, you know, he has to get all these signatures, you know, and all these things he has to do to get on the party ballot in the state. But Elaine Brown, okay, a radical sister, got on the presidential party nomination in the Green Party in 2008. Didn't nobody know about it. Y'all know about that?
No, ma'am.
So that's the first thing. Like, we really can advance our revolution, our political revolutionaries. We can advance them. This is an example of it. Her platform was focused on the needs of working class families, promoting living wages for all, free health care, more funding for public education, affordable housing, removal of troops from Iraq at that time, and improving the environment and equality. And y'all, now in this political climate, we got a neo-damn Nazi, and we trying to get a Black woman, you know, in the position of president. But I wanted you to see that what are their platforms standing for? Are they both, you know, who's looking out for living wages? Who's looking out for the people? Okay, so just to keep in mind, like, we can move our people forward politically if we want to. And especially if they align with our values. All these things that I just listed, affordable housing, that matters to me. Free healthcare matters to me. I don't know what's going on in the political realm right now, because ultimately they're going to do what they want to do. But I want you to be inspired, those of you who are out there who may be considering running for mayor, running for city council, running for, you know, any city position or city official. Be inspired and get your people out. Get outside. First of all, let people know what you're about. Let people find out about you and your principles, and people will uplift you. Because Elaine Brown was one of those people in the community that her folks uplifted, and she was on the ballot. So just to throw that out there. Now, she did ultimately resign because what she found out that the white people who were over the Green Party had no intention of using the ballot to actualize real progress. And I wanted to make that known because there's all these arguments going on right now about Kamala Harris. Well, she did this, she did that. At the end of the day, people, the system does not want to actualize our progress. And the faster we stop relying on the system for our solutions and tap into our own community needs for ourselves, you know, we can advance our people farther when we can depend on each other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to start. You have to start at a local level. I don't get too caught up in the big presidential election. I don't get caught up in that. Now I look and pay attention to see what's going on or whatever. And I'm not the person that fight for the lesser evil, because you know, I know a lot of people is champion the sister of color. I'm not gonna say Black African American woman, say the sister of color, but she's you mentioned a neo-Nazi. He's a right-wing neo-Nazi, right? And then you have her who is a moderate, right? But now one of those plans that they're talking about, or what they're for, like you saying, what are they for? None of what they're talking about is for Black people in general at all. But like you said, we got to stop looking at them to help with our solutions. We have to start on a local level. So there are so many different black states. I mean, black states, nothing but black heads all over there. We need to start rallying behind those black states and putting people in position in those black states, you know what I'm saying, that can help and benefit the people and the plights in their communities, and then trickle down to the people in our, just like here. It's no excuse. We got more black people in my town than white folks. But we got a white governor. We got a white mayor. You know what I'm saying? So if we attack from a local level and get the people in position, or even groom the youth, that's something that we need to start doing. Start grooming the youth. If we start grooming the youth and rallying, putting our money together and say, we're going to send this brother to school for political science. We're going to send this sister to school to be a lawyer. We're going to send this brother to school to become a judge. If we start doing those things and tackling it from a local level, we can make our states, we can make our communities better. But we keep depending on who we finna put in these big election, these presidential seats. Who's going to be the president? They don't control a goddamn thing. They can't do nothing for us. So until we realize we have to attack it from a local level, that's when we're going to start benefiting, or our communities and our states are going to start benefiting a lot more.
Yeah, the Charles Blow book, The Devil You Know, sounds like what you were talking about, Kofi, when it comes to, you mentioned all these black states, these black cities. We here in the South, most of us here on the podcast. Here where I live at in Louisiana, the city where I'm from, the city where I currently live, the city where I've been working at, these different cities, they are predominantly black cities on the actual census. But when you see the political leaders and who owns the businesses, who owns this, and who got the power, is not us. And I talked to a few people that have gone for elected seats in private, and they told me how much they lost the election by minimal votes, but it wasn't enough of us to get behind them and go out there and get them in a seat in a predominantly black place. It makes no mathematical sense. So it's a big old thing, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people don't pay attention to their local politics at all. And when you do, because I'm a recent person that just now, probably within the last year, started paying more attention to local politics, you want to get involved. It's actually fun to see to vet these politicians, these city leaders, the city manager, the mayor. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we talk ourselves out of running for mayor. You know what I'm saying? My homeboy, the history Griot, Matt James, that's what he wants to do. And whenever he's ready, we're going to lift him up. But again, we talk ourselves out of being in that level of political position. You know what I'm saying? And it's not something that we should shy away from, being mayor, being on the city council in our age, because a lot of times it's old heads that's on the city council, old heads who are making these decisions for millions of our generation leaders, and it's out of touch. It's not. We're not speaking to the same animal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
for sure.
I would say before I do my next group, right? Something we talk about in private, and I'm gonna bring it to a national stage right now. People should really take the time, get a little downtime, and just Google, like, what does it take to be a mayor or the city council or on the school board? Like, the requirements is not what you think.
Facts.
It's not as grandiose as you think to be the mayor of a city, even to be the freaking president. Look at the requirement to be the president. You might be also blown from your side, surprised, like, that's it? That's all it takes to be the president?
Right.
So it might not be as impossible as you think if you do have political aspiration, or like Kofi said, to groom up the youth coming up behind us. Like, you know what? We're going to take these particular youth and invest in them, put into them, and put them to be the next mayors and governors and things of that nature.
Right. Like just Sean, because too, and especially the people who are radical or revolutionary in your city, you can move them along, because even in the research, Elaine Brown was more of a Black Panther than a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? Now we have this line, Republican or Democrat. She was more of a Panther. So she was out in the community, and she won the endorsement of a couple of people I mentioned, the Alameda County Central Labor Council. You know what I'm saying? She got their vote. She won the endorsement of the United Auto Workers labor union. So she was out on the West Coast really partnering and with these labor unions with the people. So that's how she was able to get these endorsements. And finally, I'll mention her company, Oakland and the World Enterprises Incorporated. Please look that up. I'll mention a couple of websites, but right now, again, mentioning putting in, Elaine Brown is she's a developer now. So she was doing this work back in the day when she was a part of the movement, when she was the chairwoman, but even yet still at 81, we talk about diffusing things and giving up on things. She's 81 years old and she's a developer, and she created a company called Oakland and the World Enterprises. And she's got tons of donations. She's working on an $80 million project. The Black Global Network donated $1 million to her. The outgoing representative at that time, Representative Barbara Lee, gave her millions of dollars. So Elaine Brown is sitting on this money. She's making these incredible waves in Oakland. Kofi, can you share a couple of the visuals?
I'm on it right now. While you talking, I said,
you're the best. You're the best. But like when y'all see an example of what she's doing out there, you'll think it's impossible. This is Elaine Brown with this $1 million check that she got from U.S. Representative Barbara Lee for this housing development. So she wasn't able to actually get in the political realm when she was active in the party, but now she's active and 81 years old. Look at her. And she raised $80 million in an affordable apartment building. She's going to have businesses in there. It's amazing. And show that next slide for me one time, because people don't understand. This is what she's building. Okay. So we're looking at a real developer, like what you would see in your major cities. That's who Elaine Brown is right now. That's what she's doing. You guys can go look up some more information about what she's working on. She also was able to start a school. So I'm sure she's going to have a lot of educational programs that these people are going to be able to benefit from through this program. But look up civilrightsteaching.org. I'll add these in the chat. Also look at oaklandside.org, because I want you to find some self-sufficiency and find out, more about what's going on and what people are building all over the country, but especially Elaine Brown. She's also supported by a nonprofit called Building Opportunities for Self-Sufficiency, or BOSS, at selfsufficiency.org. And the last thing, her website of her business is called Oakland and the World, oaklandandtheworld.org. So you'll find that her mission is to launch and sustain for-profit businesses for cooperative ownership by formerly incarcerated and other socially marginalized people. So again, these are the things that we can do. These are at our fingertips. Elaine doing it.
Yes, I had to give it up for the sister. I had to give it up for Elaine Brown, man. She doing it. Godly, she is really doing it. She's showing. Yes, and she's showing you, man. She's showing you we can do it, man. That's why I be saying, like, we don't have no excuse. We done had so many different templates. Oh, we done had so many different templates, and we got new templates. So I don't want to hear it, man. I don't want to hear it, man. I don't, man. So shout out to that sister again, man. That's big, man. That's big, man.
That's all. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. Talk about believing in the people.
And I admire her being 81 years old, still so active, boots on the ground. You definitely deserve to live the rest of your life out, go off into the sunset, sit on the front porch, drink your lemonade, whatever. You good, right? Look at the sister Harriet Tubman, was a very senior person. She had all the things she did for like senior living and senior citizens and stuff like that. Look at Rosa Parks in her 90s. Rosa Parks was still. So these people, I always say, you don't retire from these things. You die out. Our elders didn't retire from what they would do. These people did what they did until they closed their eyes. Thanks. They were still all our scholars. They were still writing. The brother, the President of Black Civilization, Kofi. He was literally
Chancellor Williams.
He was literally blind
Yes.
transcribing to somebody, having somebody
Mhm.
transcribe this
Yep.
stuff. So even as an elder, when he couldn't see anymore, the man still writing
Yep.
prolific books.
Yep. John Henry Clark as well went blind too, doing the
I,
same thing, bro. Yep. So it was, bro.
still lecturing,
Yep.
still speaking, still
Yes. Yes.
traveling
Yes.
because they
So
had that was their internal
yes.
calling to do that.
Yes, yes. That's why I say, man, it just that like these new generations, dog. I mean, man, but you know, I think if they got exposed to some of these people that we always talking about, it can't do nothing, man, but motivate them and inspire them. And man, I'm gonna be the same way, man. Until I close, till I leave this plane of existence, I'm gonna still be putting this work in,
Bro,
man.
I know, and we had Dr. Wade in the chat. Dr. Wade is in the building. Dr. Wade, right? Let's not minimize that. I've had elders tell me years ago, man, so you got a master's degree already, you got your nice family, you got a decent job. They're pretty much telling me like, man, fall back.
Right.
Why you doing all of this? Why all this energy on this? Like, man, just chill out, fall back, go to work, take care of your family. Like, and I was in my early 30s when they told me that. I'm in my 40s now. But like this fire not going nowhere no time soon, man. Like we do this. We made for this. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. And we hope to encourage more of the listeners to be that committed to it. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with the leaders. That's why we have to continue to expose, some history and some current events so y'all can see that, the people in your neighborhood may be the only ones sitting on their hands. You know what I'm saying? But there are other people across the world and in other towns and cities, are really out there working. And you can be a part of that movement. We need everybody to rise up.
I'm going into my next group, right? I'm gonna do a little small segue. Dr. Wade mentioned in her earlier segment, the sister had printed like 30,000 leaflets, right? So coincidentally, last night when I was at work, I was reading this recent leaflet I got. This is the Black Liberation Army, right? So we've only heard about these leaflets and pamphlets and things that was going out in the 60s and 70s and before that. I got this off of eBay, it's like $1 and some change. You can find bunches of things like this on eBay and other places, Amazon, of course.
Yeah, I got it.
You got this one?
I got it.
Okay, yeah, man. So it was pretty cool looking at some of the publications that our ancestors and elders, they was looking at stuff like this, going to work or probably at work or later at night. They were going through things like this to educate themselves. And I just wanted to physically show something. Dr. Wade mentioned the leaflet, just for the viewership, man. Right. So my next group is called the Dream Defenders. The Dream Defenders, right? Social justice group, founded in response to tragedy. They formed in 2012 after the killing of Trayvon Martin. The Dream Defenders emerged as a youth-led, look at that coincidence, a youth-led organization fighting for racial justice. They focus on systemic change. The group aims to dismantle systemic racism and inequality by addressing issues like mass incarceration, police brutality, and economic injustice. Direct action and organizing. Dream Defenders employs tactics such as protest, civil disobedience, and community organizing to drive social change. They're big on youth empowerment. The organization prioritizes the voices and leadership of young people, particularly those from marginalized communities. And lastly, they have a vision for a just society. Dream Defenders envision a world without police, prisons, or
abolition.
Where all,
I said, okay, abolition.
Yeah. Where all individuals have equal opportunities and rights. So these are the Dream Defenders. I believe they are based out of Florida, and once again, it's a youth-led organization, big on helping to stop police brutality, mass incarceration. We have this consistent theme, and once again for the chat that's watching this, me, Kofi, Dr. Wade have a master document. We all in our own corners putting our stuff together. I don't necessarily know what they're gonna talk about prior to the show, and vice versa, probably. But you see you see how these things are going full circle, almost seamlessly. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. We in sync, as they would say. We are in sync.
Synchronicity, my boy.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
Yes, indeed, man. I'm gonna throw this picture up here. Let's see. Let me go back. All right. I'll throw this up here real quick. The Yin Amara. This is in Senegal, right? We went to Nigeria fairs. Both of these places are in West Africa, right? So we went to Senegal. I mean Nigeria first. Now we in Senegal, right? This is actually a hip hop group, right? Um, and let me get off. If I can get off of, hold on. All right, there you go. And like it didn't want to come off of there. But yes, this is a hip hop group. We're gonna talk about what they did, man. Let me go here real quick. Just before I go to the overview. All right, this group was founded by rappers Fol Malay. He goes by the name of Crazy Sick Guy. Real name is Mala Tala. Thiat Junior real name is Sheikh Omar Serele Torre. Uh, I'm gonna stop saying these guys' name because I know I'm kind of tearing them up a little bit. But anyway, the movement was originally started in reaction to the car frequent power cuts, but the group quickly concluded that they were fed up with any array of problems in Senegal, right? So these guys uh that name Yin Mara, which means fed up. That's the name of the group. These guys, it was fed up. It's in French. In Senegal, we know that the French was in Senegal. So most speaking people in Senegal speak French and English. Just like in Nigeria, you know, they got people that speak English. Why are they speaking English? Because we know the British and the Dutch was in these different places, right? But anyway, Yen Mara, which means fed up in French, is a movement founded in 2011 by a group of Senegal rappers and journalists. It aimed to mobilize youth for political change, social justice, and good government. Key features: culture influence, leverage their influence as popular musicians. The founder used music and media to encourage and inspire youth people. Right there, I want to stop right there. That is something I started something called, I got a production company called Ubuntu Music, and I got a 501c3 a nonprofit called Ubuntu Youth, right? And what I'm trying to do is I've been trying to do this for the last maybe 2 to 3 years, um, but is to get people engaged with the music, right? And once I get them engaging with the music, then I can start dropping other different nuggets on them about who they are, their history, their responsibility, accountability, how to move forward, influential people in history that they may not know. So I shout out to these artists for trying to do that with music and media. Civil engagement. The movement encouraged activity, participation in political process, voting registration, and awareness of citizens' rights and responsibilities. So they was also, their key thing was they rallied behind organizing people to go out and vote, because there were things that was going on in Senegal that's still going on in Senegal, but things that was corruption. We know, and I'm gonna speak on this. Corruption is bad in Africa, right? It is very bad in Africa. But if we go back and we look at, I'm writing a book right now, and this book I'm highlighting so many different tactics that the Europeans did during the 15th century, the 16th century, the 17th century, and the 18th century. These tactics that they did, right? And one of the tactics was giving the kings, giving the chiefs, giving the governors, giving the politicians, giving the presidents, giving these and showering these people with money and gifts and other things, which corruption has become a cesspool in Africa, right? And at this particular time, the president at this time, this movement pushed a corrupted president out of position when it was time to come and vote. So these guys used their influence as being musicians, as journalists, right, and rallied behind people in the importance of going out and voting. So they were setting up registration booths, all kind of stuff to get people to vote, to put somebody in power that could affect social and political and educational change within Senegal. Non-violence protests. So they did a lot of non-violent protests. They advocated for peace protests, civil actions to depend accountable for the government. Political change. The movement played crucial roles in the 2012 Senegal presidential elections, contribution to the defeat of the accomplished president of, and his last name, he has your last name. His name is Eboya Wade, by mobilizing voters. That ain't your uncle, is it, Doctor? Doctor?
Maybe, probably.
Hold on, let me
Probably.
I have this picture back up on here, man. Hold on, let me
Go and take that DNA out. Do a DNA sample on that thing.
Yeah, hold on.
Sound like something I would do. You know what I'm saying? Sound like that. It's definitely in the bloodline.
Yeah, let me. I'm messing with you, Dr. Wade. Now I'm messing with you, anyway, political change. The movement played not political change, but continuous advocacy. Yin Ara Mara, which means fed up, remain active, addressing issues such as youth unemployment, corruption, and poor governance. They continue to be a voice for the youth and a catalyst for social, political change in Senegal, right? So these guys, I appreciate them. They using their influence that they had as being popular musicians and media, and they were also journalists, formed this group together to bring social awareness about corruption that was going on in the government, you know what I'm saying, as well as setting up these voters registrations to push out a corrupted politician. So shout out to these brothers in Senegal.
You know that music, for various reasons, get a lot of bad rap these days, right? But think about the origin of most of our music anyway.
Right.
It came from oppression. It came from impoverished situations. It came from the hoods and ghettos and other areas in the world. And the youth, once again, were using their voice, using their rhythm and sound, back to being the griot, in the various forms of the griot.
Right.
You're using this thing to tell the stories of your adversity and you want to overcome it, being resilient. And like they say, being like a CNN, you being the newsman, right? You're reporting what's happening around you. If you're the Ghetto Boys or NWA or anybody else for that matter, you're seeing what's happening and you're talking about it, right?
And you know what?
Our youth has always done that with music.
I appreciate people doing that work. Like, thank you, Kofi, for highlighting them, because I would have never known that there are people out there doing that kind of work as a group, as an organization, and as creators, hell, artists. You know, it's good to see that people are doing that work, because again, nowadays people look around and because they don't see what's going on in their neighborhood, they think nothing's going on. You know what I'm saying? People aren't exposing police brutality. People aren't exposing or, you know, having organized groups, because the big push is get organized, which is true. We do need to get further organized, but there are organizations and people already there that you can connect with. We can tap in internationally, or we can create something similar to that here. But if that's in your bag, if that's in your friend circle bag, you got people and y'all can build something like that, build it. Like, what's stopping us? Y'all was talking about that in the chat. What excuses do we have now? that we can't start a group to organize in whatever lane that you feel led to organize in? What's stopping us?
Yeah, we have the ultimate time of no real gatekeepers. If your thing is music, you can definitely do something, make something, and drop it on Spotify or wherever you go, SoundCloud, like right now. If you're a writer, you can definitely write something, put something together. That's what they said in the chat about the leaflet concept. We could do leaflets again. We could do digital leaflets. And
Could.
as Kofi knows, we're saying a few different branches, we could do something real quick anytime you want and drop something
Mm,
digital like tonight.
mm,
Our point only
mm,
being in music and in publication and all these other
Right.
avenues, what we're doing right now.
mm.
But
Yeah.
for YouTube,
That's
you can
crazy
do
you
anything
said
you
that.
want with these mediums at the
Mhm.
drop of a
Ooh,
button.
y'all just
Yes.
gave
Just
me an
do it.
idea.
And
Y'all just gave me an idea.
yes, and that's crazy. He just said that too,
Write that down.
because let's look at the video. After we get off of here, I'm going to post a video. Something is happening tomorrow for my birthday that I'm doing for the people. And after that, Tuesday, I'm following with another video, and this video is going to be a call of action. I will be calling out a bunch of people. So what you just said is already in motion, Sean. It's already in motion.
And y'all just gave me an idea. I partnered with this mutual aid group out here in Dallas. Shout out to Say It With Your Chest. And they create an opportunity to come for people to volunteer, come together and build care packages for our unhoused population, right? And now I was thinking with the leaflet concept, we can draft something and put it in those care packages, letting you know what elections to look forward to if you can vote, if you can vote, if you have your ID, all that, or to give them a piece of literature to read. You know what I'm saying? That's revolutionary, that encompassing Pan-Africanism, letting people know what's going on in the world, just so that, because we need all of our people activated. Our unhoused people are untapped people, because folks forget about it. But they're untapped because they just may not be engaged. They may not be connected to the community spaces, the community builders, but we need so many of our good people out there who are stagnant to tap in so that we can really build back into these movements. But I appreciate y'all for loving on this All Rise concept and for sharing what people are doing, in our African countries and right here in the United States, that are building out and walking out and rising up and creating sustainable change for our people.
Yep. And the chat, I appreciate the chat. Everybody been engaged in this conversation that we've been having, man. So shout out to the chat.
As always, y'all keep it popping over there in that chat.
Yes, ma'am. So we got the last segment, which is the woman's segment. It is on you, Queen.
Yo, real quick, I want to highlight our good sister Joanne Robinson. Has anybody heard of Joanne Robinson? Here we go again, introducing new faces into places. This is our beautiful sister, Joanne Robinson. She was a heroine of the Montgomery bus boycotts. I like to go back to that era if you don't know it yet, if you can't tell yet, because I want to highlight the amount of people that were active. Again, we talked about Rosa Parks. We done talked about Sister Claudette Colvin, but please let me introduce you to Joanne Robinson. She was born on August 17, 1912 in Culloden, Georgia. She was the valedictorian of her high school class, speaking of educated. She was the first person in her family to graduate from college, and she fulfilled her dream of becoming a teacher. She got her master's from Atlanta University. She also studied English studies at Columbia University in New York. And then she moved to Montgomery in 1949 to teach at Alabama State College. In Alabama, that's when she became active in the Women's Political Council. So again, it's on the level of people who were active. It was community people and professors and teachers and whatever. You know what I'm saying? All these people were getting together using their talents. So when she became president of the WPC, she wanted to make desegregation of the city buses one of her top priorities because she had been verbally attacked And again, like Rosa was a story keeper. They heard all these stories of their neighbors and friends and co-workers being verbally attacked for sitting in the white section on the bus, right? And they would complain to their city leaders, hey, we don't like this. You know, we cannot tolerate these conditions. But of course, you know, sometimes when you go to the city leaders, they be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I want to highlight her because she was the president when all those leaflets were dispersed. Because originally the protest was only scheduled for one day. And that's what a lot of people don't know. That we look at the grand scheme. Okay, yes, it was 381 days, but it was originally scheduled for one day. And that's why she was like, she wanted to make that big push to get everybody in the community to know what was happening. You know, not just the people in the organization, the WPC, not just the people who went to Martin Luther King's church, you know, everybody in the community. And she passed out all these leaflets. And there's a dope little short 2 to 3 minute clip on YouTube with her talking about why it was important to her to pass out these leaflets, and that she got in her car. And she, you know, her and her people, they got in their car and they was riding around passing out leaflets. This wasn't no, you know, email blast. You know, so shout out to the sister Joanne Robinson for really being a heroine of the Montgomery bus boycott, and really all the women. I'm gonna keep going back to that era because, as you see, there's still yet so much to be shared about the women and the people that were involved. But Joanne Robinson put her up there with Rosa, put her up there with Claudette Colvin, and share her information with your kids, your nieces and nephews, so they'll have someone else to honor in that civil rights moment. So shout out to Joanne Robinson.
You know, once again, honoring the sisters, honoring the queens, man. The more you study history, you see that the ladies make the world go round, man. The Marcus Garvey UNIA movement, the Marcus Garvey papers he had, the ladies helped to push that.
Facts.
In the Black Panther Party, a lot of the, you know, we see the guys with the black vests and the berets and all that and the guns, but the ladies were typing up, organizing, and passing out the Black Panther papers, right? You can name other papers and other kinds of press that these ladies did. So this is a continuous tradition that because once again, back to the whole church thing earlier, a lot of your ladies at the church were the main ones putting together things for the church. So this is the tradition that our ladies have done. I want to say, what's the word? You know, being the administrators.
There you go.
Is a good way to put it. You know, they're administrating these things. You know, orchestrating. So shout out to the sisters, man.
Listen, and I appreciate it. And shout out to the sisters locally here in Dallas that are doing amazing things. I know a handful I can count off, you know, that are always on the front lines. They probably out there at the police station right now for the day of National Mourning for Sonia Massey, women holding it down. Yet and still here now. So if you're a woman and you in the chat, definitely know that we see you. We're inspired by you. I hope that you're inspired by what you heard today. And thank you to Kofi and the Griots Podcast for allowing this women's segment to be a part of it. Because again, a lot of people don't know that the women knew their role and they did hold it down on that level, despite the sexism. You know what I'm saying? Despite all that you hear that was going on behind the scenes, they were getting stuff done.
Yes, they were.
All that.
Yes, they were. And it's crazy. And I'm a part of an organization that has women, and the women is not revered, right? They is not revered at all, but they are the ones that is the go-getters. They are the one that make the organization look good because they know how to organize, they know how to rally, they know how to put things together. They just know how to get shit done, right? And that's something that has always rubbed me the wrong way being a part of this organization I am, because they feel like the man is, you know, just with the talk, if you listen, that the man is more superior than the woman. But when you're going back to a Eurocentric mind state, you know what I'm saying, mind frame, and we've been taught this through school, we've been taught this through the religion. So and so I understand it, but I think we just need to be reprogrammed. But when we see it in real time, man, we just you know, we just gotta be like, okay, well, damn, we made a mistake. We might need to change up our of the way that we think, because these women are actually out here doing and achieving things and actually uh 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 making the world better and just making shit happen. You know what I'm saying? Just making the shit happen. So shout out to all my strong women out there, man. Shout out to y'all. Yeah. So that concludes the Griot Podcast, episode 7, entitled All Rise. We
Seven
have
in the
another
can,
one.
baby. Seven in
Another
the
one.
can.
7 in the can for season 2, man. I've been appreciating these
It's been
last
fun, man. It's been fun.
definitely been fun, man. So y'all please like and subscribe. If y'all haven't subscribed to the channel. Please go and check out all our social media handles. Is in the description. Please go patronize all of our intellectual property. Is in the description as well. I'm gonna go back and edit it later on tonight. And every group that we talked about, I have those in the description as well. So if you ever want to go back and say, hey, they was talking about it, you don't have time to look at the video, you can just go and Google all of those social justice movements, you know what I'm saying, and take your notes and get more familiar with what they have did in their contributions. So again, man, that's it, man. We have it, man. Be on the lookout. Like I said, I'm gonna be posting a video. And then Tuesday I'll be posting a video for a call to action. So I'm gonna need a lot of people to answer the call because again, it's about helping others. We're not, Sean mentioned gatekeepers. We're not gatekeepers over here, right? So we're gonna share what we know. We're gonna share our tricks of the trades. We're gonna share our experiences. We're gonna share the things that we have learned by putting in those 10,000 hours and so forth. So it's about helping, it's about giving back. And that's what we're gonna do. So hopefully those people answer that call of action and get down with the get down. So man, we out of here, man. So peace. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. We appreciate everybody who stayed in the chat. We appreciate everybody who come in, and we appreciate those who popped in and popped out. We appreciate those who gonna come back and listen to this in the archive. And we appreciate those who may go to listen to it on Spotify later on. So man, we out of here, man. Peace again, man. And we
Rise up.
out of here.
Go, Griot. Go, Griot. Go, Griot. Yeah, I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages for the street stone. Adios mio, made it get about the Afro-Latinos. Drop their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a